Oh, well, let me start over. Alright, here we go. Today's the day. It's December 22nd, 3 days before Christmas, and it's a blistering hot 50 degrees out today. And we're going to put new calipers and brake pads on the front of this beast, the 1989 Chevrolet Blazer, which I acquired for free. So I'm getting it drivable and sound. I'm going to drive it all winter, and then come spring when it warms up, I am going to restore. So right now I got to get the tires off, got to get it jacked up, put on jack stands, get the tires off, and I'll be right back. Well, I got one wheel off and I got one hose off. As you can see how rusted this shit is. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get these screws out, these pins, but I'll be back. Whew. Shit. I was surprised this thing even came out. Holy crap. That was a job. This is called years and years of neglect of a vehicle. And I can't believe I broke that loose and got that out. That is crazy. People, stop neglecting your vehicles. Now, I got to get the bottom one. Thank God I've already got the bottom one broken loose. So, now I got to get the bottom one out and pull the caliper off. I'll be back. Whew, I don't know how I did it. But, I got the passenger side caliper bolt released. The bottom one, the top one I already showed you. These are nasty. Now, I'm not doing this in a garage. I'm doing this out in a parking lot. I don't have torches to heat things up with. I don't have all that crap. But beating it enough with a hammer, I got it out. And this is just the passenger side. Now that I got both of the pins out, I get to work on taking the caliper off, which should be easy. Just beat it enough with a hammer. But yeah, look, this is years and years of neglect. Wow. I think this truck sat on the streets of Chicago, especially during the winter months, for about 10 years. Well, I got it off. Holy crap, I can't believe this. Like I said, this is years of neglect. Wow. Look at these brake pads. No wonder my brakes were so spongy. Besides the fact the reason why I'm tracing this, well, I'm glad I am now, is because of, we couldn't bleed the front brakes because we couldn't break the bleeders open on these calipers. And obviously, because of the rust, you can see why. There's the bleeder. There's no way that was coming loose. Oh my goodness. This truck has, I should say these calipers have seen its days, but my job is to bring this truck back to life and drive it. This is a new caliper. As you can see, it comes with the new caliper pins. Okay, and then here's some new shoes. This is the outer shoe. No, sorry, this is the inner shoe. And the inner shoe has a new clip that we have to put on there. It's the same as the clip that's on this old one. This clip holds it inside of the caliper piston. That's amazing how shot those were. This is the outer shoe. These are perfectly brand new, semi-metallic. We got a new screw here, so I wasn't worried if that broke. There's your brand new looking bleeder. I'm surprised they didn't give me no rubber boots to cover those once we get it installed, but I'm going to be putting some silicone lubricant grease on these so they won't be neglected forever again. So I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. I'm adjusting the new caliper. This is what I use. A lot of people use this stuff called anti-seize. Anti-seize is kind of gross, dirty. It gets all over you. It looks like you put glittered makeup all over yourself. But anyways, there's this. Here's my new caliper pins. New caliper pins. New caliper pin bushings. And where these go, there's, if you can see, there's rubber O-ring in here. There's a rubber O-ring in there. There's a rubber O-ring in there. And a rubber O-ring in there. And what we're going to do is all these parts, we're going to coat them all up with silicone lubricant. I like to put lubricant on this area of the caliper because it's a sliding area. And also as well as the bottom flat face. I just put the silicone lubricant all over everything. And the next time if you ever have to replace your brakes or anything like that, it's going to be much easier than what we just went through. I'll be back. Okay people, now that we got everything with lube on it, you can see the lube on the O-rings. O-rings, these, if you notice, everything slides better with lube. I had to say it, but it's true, and it's easier to work on later if you get everything well protected. So we have lube on there, and we are ready. I forgot to put lube on these ends, but I'll do that in a minute, and we're ready to put our caliper back on. I'll be back. First off, I wanted to show you how to put the brake pads in here. This is the brake pads. This fancy new little clip that they came with the calipers. Sorry about that. Fancy new clip that came with the calipers. It actually goes on the brake pad like this. The brake pad goes on here and it snaps into the caliper piston just like that. Okay, and that's the one good reason why I want to put lube on these ends, is because, you know, these are movable parts. I'll be back. That was fun. Check this out. Caliper fell right into place. Brand new caliper with brand new brake pads. Looks damn good. Everything goes together better when it's new, and it has lubrication on it. This is how you put the pins in, and then I just have to tighten those pins up. One on top, one on bottom. And there's my landlord of the property. Okay, now that I have the new caliper on, I put the new brake hose, or the old brake hose, back on, which chances are I'm going to replace that. Look at that. That's also neglect. I can replace that too. That won't be much of a problem. I've opened up the bleeder so I could do what is, and I opened up the master cylinder. So what you do is you keep this open, and it's called gravity bleed. Master cylinder's up higher than this, so what's going to happen, the fluid's going to come flowing down into the caliper. It's going to fill up the caliper, which is probably what it's doing right now, but it's a slow process. And then once it fills up the caliper, it's going to start coming out of the bleeder, which should be pushing all the air out. Hopefully I won't have to pedal bleed it, but if I do, I have a kit where I can do it all on my own. I'll be back. As you can see, fluid has started coming out of the bleeder. So it's actually gravity bleeding itself. You see that fluid right there coming out. It means it's bleeding all the air out of itself, which is nice. Okay people, woo, it took me forever to get the lug nuts off the driver's side front. You see that? Garbage. Some stupid rocket scientist engineer at General Motors decided they were going to put these tin covers over the top of lug nuts. My friends would know when I say stupid rocket scientist engineer, to give them the appearance like they're supposed to be chrome or something. And if you can see, they rust underneath, and then they swell, and you can't get a socket on them, and if you do, then the socket strips them out, and if you can't get them off, you gotta, I take a chisel and I chisel these little bits off, and then it becomes one solid lug nut. The smallest size I got to fit on there was an 18 millimeter, and I finally broke it loose. But once again, the whole moral of my story here is this is called years of neglect. The good news is I have all brand new lug nuts that are solid chrome plated lug nuts, none of this tin garbage. All right, so I got the driver's side front wheel off. Now I got to put that brake on. I'll be back. Haha, check it out. Here's my new lug nuts. Brand new. They're not that stupid cap shit. These are real. They're real. 7/16-20 thread. One thing I want to show you before I pop this tire off. I already got the lug nuts loosened off, but the tire's all corroded onto the rotor. But you see this cross mark on the top of the tire. It's done by a paint marker or a grease marker or a grease pen or something. If you live in the city of Chicago, you know what I'm talking about. If you live in the city of Chicago and your vehicle's sitting in one spot for more than 3 days, and somebody may call and complain, or the cops are just watching it, then they'll put a grease marker on it, or grease pencil mark on your tire. And usually it's on the top of the tire, like this one shows. And I just did put it up there so you guys can see it, because I'm parked actually in a parking lot that I pay for. So, but the thing is if you do that, and a couple days later, the truck's still in the same spot, and that grease pencil mark on your tire has never moved, then they will tow your vehicle, and then you have to go to the city pound and pay a couple $100 to get your car out. And all that is just another money grab for the city of Chicago. It's robbery, but what can you do when you live here? All right. Don't forget to top off your brake fluid. The brakes works. This concludes my first episode. Butch it up, bitches.